Rat rods are hipsters, and hipsters are rat rods. Now, as with all of my posts, this is just my opinion, so take it as such, even though you know I'm right. I consider rat rods to be the hipsters of the automotive world. Both are interchangeable, kind of like the IRS audit and scurvy, only not in a good way. Why I think rat rods and hipsters are spiritually linked. One, they both have mismatching and often nonsensical accessories. I mean, I don't think a welded together tugboat chain makes a good front axle or an ironic nose ring, but I do think billet wheels and rust go together, as well as long walks in wooden shoes with a record player to your ear trailing a long extension cord. Two, they both stink from the tailpipe. One smells because of overcarburation as a result of the 2-carbon tunnel ram with stock small block rule. The other reeks because of the mandatory veganism. If you're not sure what that is, just wait a couple seconds. They'll tell you how you're murdering that cow by adding creamer to your coffee. They'll then proceed to explain the reason they only drink black coffee from underground coffee shops because water is like too mainstream. 3, someone could get seriously injured by passing either one. The only shock greater than the sight of a flex plate coming through your windshield is the realization that it's just been used to steer his car. You know this because he's desperately trying to use his window crank vice grips to tiller the contraption into submission. And just try to walk past the other without a gas mask. How much are you gagging and choking as you walk through a cloud of fibers and beer and armpit hair from homemade scarf snowmobile cap? All the while spandex legging with Crocs and Scarf Man is typing a tweet on a 1923 Smith & Corona. He's banging away on homemade paper from fibers left over from the scarf and full face cap he just made. All the while burning his tongue on his coffee because he drank it before it was cool. And he's looking at you like you're the one with a mental disorder. The only place where rat rods and hipsters diverge is in the grooming department. Rat rods are a jumble and are built that way on purpose. Hipsters, on the other hand, usually have their hair done nice, with their blind friend picked, clothes ironed, and their makeup just right. The women hipsters, however, are a mess. Hot rods you're not afraid of. There are 2 ways you can be scared to drive your vehicle. The beast can be unsafe mechanically to drive, or you can be afraid to scratch the beauty. Both are ridiculous. I would much rather drive a hot rod with updated chassis, suspension, and drivetrain and interior, but leave the exterior alone for the time being, or for good. And just think about it. I'd never have to worry about scratches or dents, but there's a huge difference between a rat rod and a vehicle with a patinaed or lived-in look. One runs like stink, the other, well, just stinks. I hear all the time that people are doing it the traditional way. No, you're building an unsafe art car. What people fail to realize with this rat rod movement is the hot rodders back in the day concentrated on the mechanics first and would get to the aesthetics as time and money allowed. They wanted nice looking cars, not rolling outhouses. Once you start adding things like rusty pipe wrenches for headlight stands and tractor wheels and tires, you're nowhere near a rod. At that point, you may as well stuff in a diesel and paint the wheels black. Oh, too late, it's already being done. Now, I'm not saying don't get creative with your ride. What I am saying is if you want a show quality ride, pick your show. Either a car show or the greatest show on earth where there's a sucker born every minute. It can float along to the car show, or it can be a float at the Mardi Gras. Call them what they are. Art cars. Some of these art cars are pretty cool looking. I wouldn't want to drive most of them, but some have really interesting lines and silhouettes. I'm not completely against the art car movement. I just can't stand it when every ad for a dug up piece of rusty metal, whether it's a hunk of rebar, a headlight ring, or a barn door hinge, is advertised as a rat rod part. No, it's not a car part. It's an old Kohler toilet handle. It doesn't belong... well, okay. Maybe it does belong on your rat rod. Just make sure you polish it first with your grandma's knit cap you're using to keep your coffee and the sparkles in your beard warm. And remember that old Norse saying, if the wolves howl at twilight, put an edge on your sword, not your tongue. Now a rough translation of that is, you know I'm right.